mindset. Are my slides almost there? Okay. So I'm going to be talking to you about a growth mindset. How many of you have heard that? It's kind of a buzzword the last couple of years. Yeah, they're even teaching it in the schools, which I think is amazing. My kids' school, they have adopted that program. So this is coming directly from this book here. It's called Mindset, A New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. And it's eye-opening. And the thing that's cool about it, because sometimes, like she said, you know, people think that somebody that has success, there's something special. There's something special that maybe they have that they were born with that you don't have. And sometimes you just kind of lean into that a little bit, right? You think, well, you know, that's just the way it is. And I wasn't meant to do this because I wasn't dealt that hand of cards. All right, so change your mindset and you can change your life. How many of you have ever had an experience where you either witnessed somebody or maybe it was in yourself going from a negative outlook to a positive outlook? Yes? Yeah, we see a lot here. And it's really exciting. You know, we see people, they come in for the first time and sometimes life's kind of getting them down. You know, it's not that they're nasty or anything like that. It's just life's getting them down. They're feeling a little bit weary, right? And then we see them build up their confidence slowly. They start looking at things from a different perspective. And that's exactly what this is about. All right, so changing your mindset and change your life. And you can even change the people's lives that you influence, such as your family. So my son James is in kindergarten. And so, you know, in kindergarten they have the whole like color thing, like you land on green for the day or yellow or red, right? And so that's like the disciplinary scale, right? So he came home with a yellow and he was like, I got a yellow, and he was so crushed. And which was actually kind of awesome because Joey didn't care when he came home with a yellow, so I'm excited that James actually cares. So I said to him, and I was just like, I said, well, that's okay. I said, look what the streak you had of green. I said, so you had 6 greens in a row and you got a yellow. So if you do 7, you broke your record. And he was like, I can break my record? I'm like, you can break your record. And then he goes, I'm going to go all the way to the end of the month. And I said, all right. He goes, I'm going to try that. And I said, yeah, you do that. And so then a couple minutes later, he's in the car thinking, processing. And he goes, I'm not going to try it, Mom. I'm going to do it. And I was like, all right. I want to hear that. And will he do it? I don't know. But I love the idea that he was thinking that way, right? All right, so I loved this quote. It's straight out of the book. We like to think of our champions and idols as superheroes who were born different than us. We don't like to think of them as relatively ordinary people who made themselves extraordinary. You know why? Because then we have to think about, why not me? And it puts it on us, and you realize you actually have a choice. And sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow. You are where you are because you choose to be. So the good thing is you can change that. And I'm going to give you some ideas and tips to do that. All right? So let's see here. All right, so let's talk about athletes and their mindsets. I'm going to list off some athletes, and you're going to know immediately why they have a growth mindset, right? So, the thing is, a lot of times I don't have names of athletes or anybody successful that has a fixed mindset because I didn't get that far. Right? You know, because we all know somebody maybe in high school, right? They just kind of had it, right? They were really good in sports, very charismatic. Everybody was like, thought they were going to go so far, and then they didn't. Well, you know why? Because everybody their whole lives told them, you have natural ability, you're a natural talent. And that stopped them in their tracks because then they're like, when things started to falter, they were like, oh, I ran out of my natural skills, so I guess this is it. And they don't even want to attempt something for fear that they won't be able to achieve it because they've achieved so much their whole life. Because nobody ever told them that they can actually grow and achieve more, right? So athletes, all right, Michael Jordan. That's an easy example. Everybody knows Michael Jordan, right? A lot of people probably had his tennis shoes at some point, right? All right, so Michael Jordan, he got cut from his high school basketball team. And his mom's like, well, if this is what you want, you need to go work for it. And he started going and working out 3 hours before school every day, right? He was he still is, known as one of the hardest working athletes because he put in the time, because he knew he could improve himself by putting in the time, Putting in the time will beat somebody who has natural ability 10 to 1. All right? And he didn't even get accepted to the college basketball program that he wanted to. Think about that. And until LeBron James, he was like when you think of basketball, you think of Michael Jordan. There were some other big players too, but Michael Jordan, right? And now LeBron is right there with him. And LeBron's an example of a growth mindset because he did have natural ability, right? He had natural ability that took him so far, but somebody along the way told him he'd get even better if he worked hard, right? And that's what he does. He's always honing his skill. He's changing his diet, changing his routine, doing things like that to better himself so he can be the best person he can be for his team. All right? And so golf, I'm a golf person, right? Ben Hogan. All right, if you've never heard of Ben Hogan, he has a lot of golf gear and stuff like that over the years, right? He had, and you don't get those type of deals unless you're pretty big, right? He was uncoordinated and clumsy all through growing up. He didn't even pick up a golf club until after he was out of high school. That's incredible. Usually professional athletes these days, you hear about, they grew up with a golf club in their hand, or, people talk about Tiger Woods. He grew up, they talk about, he's been playing for so long. But sometimes they're not. So that's really powerful. All right, so a growth versus a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset avoids challenges. All right. Now, some of you might be sitting here and you're like, ooh, that might be me. Okay? It's okay. All right? Because we all have a little bit of both in us. I don't care who you are. All right, we all have a little bit of both in us. It's a matter of shining a light on it and helping you realize and recognize the things that are fixed versus the things that are growth and making those changes. Because once you realize it, you have the choice because you're educated. All right, so a fixed mindset also, they give up easily, right? Again, going back to my toddler because it's easy, right? So how many times, it breaks my heart when I say something to him. He's like, I can't do it. And I'm just like, yes, you can. You haven't even really tried yet. You tried once. Come on, let's do this, right? So as adults, we don't stomp our feet and say we can't do it, but in our head we're doing it. And sometimes we're even outwardly saying, yeah, I can maybe do that. In our head we're like, no, it's not happening, right? So a fixed mindset also sees effort as fruitless or worse. Right? Because they think if I don't have natural ability, there's no point in me even doing anything. They don't want to waste their time. All right? They ignore useful negative feedback. So feedback that is negative about whatever it is that they're doing, but is true, and is told to them in a way to help them improve themselves, they're just like, no, they don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm doing, clearly. All right, there's a lot of ego in that fixed mindset because, half their lives they were told that they were naturally smart or, they're so gifted, right? The gifted program. What happens when you run out of the gift? All right, that's where the growth comes in. All right, so they feel threatened by the success of others. And I would be hard-pressed to see if there's anybody in this room that has never, on occasion, very quietly in the back of their mind, and you don't have to admit it, felt threatened by somebody else's success. Or maybe weren't as happy for that person because you were a little jealous that it wasn't you. Everybody does that. It's okay. But it's recognizing it and moving forward and getting past that and realizing everyone can have that success when you work at it. All right, so the growth mindset, they embrace challenges, right? So when something comes up and it's a challenge, they're just like, all right, let's do this. All right? So in this book, they give lots of examples of kids in schools because they do work with the kids in schools with this growth mindset. And so they put puzzles in front of kids and things like that. And there's some kids that are like, this is too hard. I can't do it, right? They're like my little James sometimes. And then there are other kids that are like, oh, sweet, this one's even harder. I love a challenge, right? That's a growth mindset, all right? They see effort as a path to mastery. How many of you have ever worked out? You start a workout program, right? It stinks in the beginning. It hurts, feels awful, awkward, right? You're like, yes, But you know that if you keep working, that you can master that skill. That's huge to recognize that. They persist in the face of challenges. And I know everybody in this room has been faced with challenges. Some of you are facing them right now, right? And some of you talk about it, some of you don't. Some of it's a personal challenge, some of it's something more outward that everybody can see. All right? You learn from criticism. How many of you like reviews? If you have a day job, you like reviews? I freaking love reviews. I love reviews. I didn't know what I was doing wrong unless they told me. How can I improve something I don't know about? I loved getting reviewed. And I felt really disappointed when I didn't get reviewed because I'm like, here I am just going along. They could be really ticked off by what I'm doing, but they're not telling me anything different, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I needed to know. I needed to know what was going on. So I really loved getting reviewed because it just kind of, and Pam, we sit down yearly and do a business plan at the beginning of the year. It's kind of like a review, because she sits there, she looks over my numbers, she said, here's the hole. You want to grow, fix this. Sometimes I want to hear it, sometimes I don't. But that's that's a double-edged sword of a review, But at least I'm honest. I know, yep, you're right. That's me right there on that paper, And so you just own up to it. So you find lessons and inspirations in the success of others. How many of you watch inspirational videos? Yeah, when I eat breakfast, I try to find one less than 10 minutes because more than 10 minutes, I'm just going to get sucked into YouTube, and I don't want to do that. Right? I got things to do. But it takes me about 10 minutes to eat my breakfast, so I do that while I'm eating my breakfast. And I love watching stories of people overcoming adversities. It gives me hope. It gives me hope in myself, hope in people on my team. It helps me relate to people on my team that maybe I didn't walk in their path. I came from a different background, and I love watching videos like that. It helps so much. If you're not in the habit of doing that, that's a great way to make a significant shift in your mindset, is by watching things like that and letting it wash over you. You have tissues, yeah. Yeah, sometimes that's what they need too. All right, so do you agree or disagree? Okay, so I'm going to read these things really quick to you, and I want you to think to yourself and even write on your paper. If you don't have paper out, you need to get paper out because I'm going to be doing a couple other things. So you want to write on the paper, number 1, 2, through 4, and I want you to write an F for fixed or a G for growth. All right, so your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much. Is that fixed or growth? Don't yell it, just say it. All right? Keep getting in the way. It's right up here. Your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much, right? It's all right, you're excited, I get it. All right, the second one, you can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. No matter how much, this is the next one, no matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change quite a lot, a bit, or a lot. Bunches. All right, last one. You can always substantially change how intelligent you are. This one's pretty obvious. These 4 questions are pretty obvious. So which ones are the fixed? Which ones? There was a lot of numbers just thrown at me.
1 and 2.
1 and 2 are the fixed mindsets. All right, so 3 and 4 are the growth mindsets. All right, fixed mindsets, remember? I'm only as smart as I was born smart, right? And I have to be honest with you, I used to feel that way. Okay, my sister's in the room, and I'm going to call you out. Sorry. She is a scholar. She is so flippin' smart. Crazy smart. I'm not smart like that. I'm smart in a different way. But it took me a long time. Look at you go laughing at me. So it took me a long time to realize that it was okay that I wasn't that kind of smart. She's like chemistry, biology, science smart. I am not. I am not. But I appreciate people who are. My son is crazy smart like that. He didn't get it from me. All right? And so because of that, I used to, because I got in trouble for my grades, okay? Because my parents knew I was smarter than what I was doing. and they were super smart, and so they knew that I could do better than what I was doing. And so they would, and so I would get grounded for my grades. And in that conversation, all right, Loretta's like, what? So in that conversation, I would try to throw at them, I can't help it, I'm not as smart as Amy. And they're like, no, back the train up. You can't say that. You're just as smart as your sister. And I kind of believed them, but not really. I really thought she was born with something that I didn't have, and that there was nothing I could do to change that. So I didn't even try, which is why I was in trouble for my grades. Okay, so see, so it comes in different ways in your life, and so sometimes you can, sometimes you have that fixed mindset, and then sometimes you don't, on certain things. So. All right, so a couple more. You are a certain kind of person, and there's not much that can really be done to change that. Your personality, right? Jenny's laughing because she's changed a whole lot. All right, so no matter what kind of person you are, you can always change substantially. Come on, guys, we've witnessed it in this very room. Somebody who comes in, like I said, they come in and life's got them down, and then all of a sudden they come in and things have shifted, and they are so on fire and excited, and just they're just bringing this energy to the room, right? Definitely a growth mindset. You can do things differently, but the important parts, who you are, can't really be changed. That's a fixed mindset. Everyone can change. It's a choice. All right, and then the last one, you can always change basic things about the person that you are. Yes, you can. You can change your outlook, you can change your personality, you can change, you can change, there's so many things that you can change, All right, so here's another good one. All right, this one I kind of had to go, whoa. I thought this was really powerful. Mindset changes are not about picking up a few pointers here and there. It's about seeing things in a new way. All right, so here it is. It's going to hit you, right? When people change to a growth mindset, they change from a judge and be judged framework to a learn and help learn framework. Wow. I've been guilty of judge and be judged. For sure. Absolutely. But you know what? Here at Champion, we are learn and help learn. And so even if you have been in that judge or be judged mindset before, you're in a good place to change that. So that's the good news. All right? So I thought that was incredible. All right, so I have 11 proven strategies on creating a growth mindset. All right, so here's where the rubber meets the road. I'm going to give you some ideas and stuff, but the most important thing is just being aware. Being aware. Being aware that you can change whatever it is that's going on. So when you sit there and you're like, you know what? Okay, so I was on a call with some people from Top of the Line last week, and somebody on the call said, well, Chorus had different advantages than us. And somebody else on the call was like, oh, no, you don't. And she totally didn't accept it. She shut it down so fast. She said, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. She puts her pants on the same way that we do. All right? She started with a starter kit the same way we did. And everybody has the same opportunities. It's what you choose to do with them, right? That right there is a growth mindset. The fixed mindset was a person like, well, she has different advantages and that's why she where she is. BS. And you have to recognize that. All right, so 11 proven strategies. Number 1, view challenges as opportunities, right? We talked about that. All right, number 2, prioritize learning over seeking approval. Yeah, that's huge, And we kind of grow up that way. We want our parents' approval, we want our friends' approval, we want approval from people at the church, we want approval all over the place, right? So you want to prioritize your learning. And recognize those little steps that you take to grow and learn. All right, focus on the process instead of the end result. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. On my laptop, I took like a label machine years ago before I was even in Tupperware, and somebody gave me advice, let go of the outcome and enjoy the process. And I had that on my computer as I was building my business. Every time I opened my computer, that's what I saw. Because at the time, I had a heck of a time letting go of the outcome because I needed the outcome so bad. I needed that money. I needed that positivity. I needed that shift and change in my life so bad. It was so hard to set that aside and move forward. And so I had a daily reminder to let go of the outcome and enjoy the process. And it helped me so much to be able to enjoy all those phone calls, even if I didn't get a dating, And so when I would get off the phone, my husband would be like, hey, how'd it go? After I made my calls, and I was like, well, I got one dating, but I had a couple really good conversations. And this lady gave me a tip on cooking. It was just and I had to kind of enjoy that part of it. All right, so number 4 is cultivate a sense of purpose. And that's thinking big picture, all right? That's thinking big picture. It's huge. You have to do that to be able to have that growth mindset. Choose learning well over learning fast. All right, this is not a race. It is not a get-rich-quick thing. This is about monumental change in your life. And sometimes it takes time. Give yourself that gift, all right? Number 6, making mistakes doesn't mean you're a failure. Absolutely not. It means you're making progress is what it means. It means you're doing something. That's huge. One time somebody called corporate on me. Yeah, it happened. Totally happened. I was devastated. I was mortified. I'm sure I was probably crying. And I said, I'm talking to Pam, and she goes, sweetheart, they don't complain about the people that aren't working. And I was like, okay. She's like, it's okay. You made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's okay. All right, number 7, learn from those mistakes. All right, learn from the mistakes of others, right? Learn from the mistakes of others, whether they're your mistakes or other people's mistakes. Learn to receive constructive criticism. Huge. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't learn to take that feedback and be able to do something positive with it. Cultivate grit. There's a great book called Grit. And it's just, it's about, the ability to keep going despite that adversity. So if you're somebody who's really facing some serious adversity right now and you're really struggling through that, to be able to get past that to work your business, you should check into that book. All right, number 10, set a new goal for every goal achieved. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't. It's a huge mistake. I've done it. I think every successful person in this room has done it. You had a goal and you're just like, woo, I did it. Yeah, and then you kind of coast along for a while, and then a year goes by, and you're like, wait, so what happened? Why can I keep going forward? Yeah, you got to keep going. All right, and number 11, remember that it takes time to succeed in anything. You just have to make those forward steps. All right, so last but certainly not least, in the fixed mindset, everything is about the outcome. If you fail, or if you're not the best, it's all been wasted. What a waste of time, right? I remember coming out of one of my very first relationships in high school, and one of my friends like, you wasted 2 years with that guy. And I said, no, I didn't. Now I know what I don't want. I was like, now I know what I don't want, what I won't put up with, right? It's never a waste of time, all right? And so the growth mindset allows people to value what they're doing regardless of the outcome, letting go of the outcome and enjoying the process, right? They're tackling problems, charting new courses, and working on important issues. We are trailblazers. Tupperware is a trailblazer. It's a trailblazer company. We were one of the very first ones. How amazing is that? But not only that, but many times in my community, I'm probably one of the very few people that my primary income is a direct sales business. That makes me a trailblazer. You starting a business like this with the intention and goal of growing it like that makes you a trailblazer. Be proud of that. Own that. You can do this business when you open your mind and realize it's all a choice. You're not stuck where you are. If you weren't born with it, too bad. You weren't born with the right family. You weren't born into money. You weren't born into this. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is what you do here today, what you do with the information that you're getting today and moving forward and taking action on it. That's what matters. So who is going to break records in the record breaker? Woo! All right, come on, everybody